Everybody knows the old adage, as soon as you buy a brand new car, 20% is gone as soon as you drive that car off the lot. And while that's typically true in most cases, there are actually some vehicles that will hold value for as much as 5 years. In other words, it's not just paying the tax man, seeing your money go away, and then not getting anything out of it. I'm going to share a list of 10 amazing vehicles that are not only responsible to own, some of them are amazingly exciting to drive, and you can literally run the wheels off them for 5 years, get rid of it, and not lose a dime. Let's get into it now. Life's too short to drive boring cars. So the first car on our list is one that proves you don't have to drive a boring car. And what we're looking at here is the Chevy Camaro. That's right, they hold a significant amount of value in 5 years. Why is that? Well, because they're vintage, they're a remake on the old classics from the 60s, and they're just pretty damn cool, right? Let's take a look. This one here, of course, beautiful wheels, and you'll notice the calipers glossy red. Great little accent detail along the sides of these cars. Love the rear flares of these. Actually looks very muscular from the backside here. And how about those taillights? Gorgeous. And right here we have an SS, and it has 2 pipes and another 2 pipes over there. Absolutely gorgeous. And this one even has a little wing on it, just for a little extra sporting appeal. How about a convertible? Well, yes, you can get a convertible, you can get a coupe. They're both great. The interior is actually very, very spicy as well, and you can get an auto or a manual gearbox. That's why these are partially extra appealing. Great hood lines, of course, is very stout and aggressive, very muscular looking by all means. Of course, look at the lines on that. That thing looks super aggressive with the lower front valence that juts right out. Of course, you got a couple of snarling nostrils there. And why is that? Because a lot of these you can either get with a V6 or even better, go with the V8s. Personally, if I were to buy one, I'd buy the exact car that my buddy has. He actually picked himself a ZL1 with the 1LE. That's the track package. Got thinner glass, lighter seats, of course, stickier rubber. It's an amazing hot rod. And he got the manual gearbox teed up to the supercharged 6.2 liter V8. Yes, 650 horse. V8s all day long in the Camaro. And what sort of loss do you expect with these Camaros? Well, how about you're able to own this vehicle for 5 years, only lose 20.2%, which equates to about $8,000, which is next to nothing. 5 years, that's barely over $1,000. It's about $1,500 a year to own such an amazing car. Can't go wrong with a Camaro. Now, the 9th most frugal vehicle is what we have right here. Now, it's not pretty, it's not fancy, it's not fast, and it's not even cool. As a matter of fact, it's kind of geeky. 4 doors, small, little Nissan, what we have here. And only 19.9% of its original value is gone in 5 years, to the tune of about $3,200. Easy car to own. What is this, in fact? Well, it's a Nissan, and it has some old school headlights. Cheap to run. That's a good example. And it has small wheels, but replacement wheels are cheap too. Basic little mirrors, no sunroof, but nothing to break up top there either. Of course, cheap little plastic handles. They look like chrome, but it probably peels away. Circle around to the back, and we're dealing with a Nissan Versa. Of course, this one here is the Xtronic CVT, which doesn't have a great history to it, and this is the SL model. Now you cycle around the side, it's a very bland looking vehicle. And the interior is nothing much right to home about either. It's actually very simpleton looking. Little basic shifter for this CVT or continuously variable transmission. I'm not gonna lie, it's not the prettiest. It has a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder engine, makes basically a hair over 120 ponies, so it's not fast, but it is good on fuel. And in today's day and age, not everybody wants to spend $140,000 on a brand new Tesla Model S. Some people just want to make minimal fuel consumption as well as cheapest running costs available, and this one certainly fits the bill. And another one for the frugal driving experience is what we have parked right here. This is a great little Toyota, as you can see, and even closer, it's a Corolla. Yes, these cars are tried and true, ultra reliable, easy to live with, cheap for maintenance, great little accents like little fake vents there. Of course, a great little profile along the side, simple little mirrors, no sunroof for breaking down, cutesy little headlights, certainly a nicer upgrade from the Nissan Versa in this great little Toyota. And they even have some great little vents along the side to give it some style. How about the inside? A little bit simple, a little basic, but again, this point is minimum cost per mile of fun and transportation. Now, CVT transmissions are never a thing of beauty. They're not fun, they're not exciting, and in some cases, they're somewhat unreliable. More so is the case in Nissans. Toyotas are tried and true and bulletproof. But these cars are just so easy to own because in 5 years you'll only lose about $4,600, or about 19.8% of its original value is gone. That's a pretty easy car to live with considering what Teslas cost. Think about getting into a base Model 3, you're up around $50,000. This is a pretty easy pill to swallow, don't you think? And another great, amazing vehicle that shows that, again, you can actually have some fun with the driving experience and not lose a ton of money. We have this beautiful silver little hot rod. And what actually is this? Well, let's take a closer look. Firstly, this one has a 5.0. It's a 5-liter V8 engine wrapped under that hood. Beautiful wheels. Look at this amazing spoiler on the back, which gives it a little extra sporting touch. And these awesome little taillights. This is the GT, which actually has a couple of amazing exhaust tips, which are great. They bellow the exhaust noise. Look, little splitters back there too. This one here, again, as I said, was convertible, very similar to the Camaro. And you can, in fact, get this in the coupe version as well. What's the inside look like? Again, another very amazing car. Moderate build quality. You can team this up with an automatic transmission or the infamous manual gearbox. Sure, you can get smaller engines. In different generations, you get turbo 4-cylinder engines, V6s. Now, more likely, the V8s are the more popular choices. And if you really want to step up your choices, you can step into the Shelby GT350, which is actually an amazing naturally aspirated, high-strung, flat plane crank V8, which makes massive power, 550 horse. You can get a manual with that. And as well, the GT500 Shelby, big bucks, but it'll hold its value. It's more or less a collector's car. DCT, supercharged V8, yes, massive power. It will destroy a Hellcat parked right next to it. Mustang is an amazing machine, and the even more beauty is you don't lose a ton of money. Only about $7,500 is lost, to the tune of about 19.5% is up in smoke in the first 5 years. That's only $1,400 per year of depreciation. Again, that's one single trip to Vegas or a set of tires every couple of years. But wait a minute, this is a 5-liter V8 with a manual gearbox. You'll be eating tires too, so you'll be having fun while you're doing it. Absolutely amazing, the Mustang GT. And the next one is this great little white hot rod parked right behind me. I love these cars. Why? Because of their simplicity. High level of relative performance. They're easy to live with. They're relatively low cost of running and operating and maintenance. They're just easy to live with, but look at them. They look great too. Let's take a quick look around. Beautiful wheels, and it's a Subaru. You notice it's got Brembo brakes, great little vents, simple mirrors, simple little handles like a Toyota. Great little tail lights indeed by the Subaru. And look, it's got this great sporting little wing. How about the bottom? You've got these great exhaust tips along there and a nice little splitter to finish it off. No sunroof on top, but that's okay. Keeps the center of gravity low where you want it for a sports car. How about inside? Absolutely great looking car, great ergonomics. Manual gearbox is the way to get these cars, and that makes it so raw indeed. Truly why it's one of the better enthusiast cars nowadays. Under the hood, you get a 2.4-liter 4-cylinder engine. Makes about 228 horsepower in the latest version of these Subaru BRZs. They're flat 4. Almost like a 911. Yes, it's a boxer engine. And it can hustle this little car from 0 to 60 mile per hour time in as little as 5.4 seconds, making it a really sprightly little machine. It also has great little headlights, beautiful touches and accents on the front. And yeah, why wouldn't it be smiling at you? It's a happy, friendly little car. And you ask me, honestly, would I own one of these? Oh yeah, you betcha I would. This would be a great daily driver. Easy on fuel, easy on the pocketbook, and in 5 years, easy as it doesn't psychologically mind pump you because you don't lose a ton of money. How much would you lose on this in 5 short years? Well, you would only lose about 18% on this vehicle and about $5,900. The only reason it wouldn't do better is because it's kind of a dedicated sports car. And a lot of people find it easier to sell and live with an SUV or a vehicle that's better for all year round. Yeah, it's still good for wintertime, but it's really a more focused car. And as a result, it would do better, but it's still an easy car to live with that you won't lose your shirt on. And the next greatest car on the list for holding significant value. They're very popular. You can get them in very sporting configurations. They're attractive, and they have such a reputation for reliability and fun that who doesn't love a good old-fashioned Honda Civic like we have right here? beautiful. They've got a basic set of headlights. The newer Civics definitely have a unique design at the front, but that's sort of a Honda look. The Accords are starting to look a little like that as well. Beautiful flared looking hood accent. Love these mirrors, absolutely look sporty. Nice little touch on the handles. Of course, you do get sunroofs with some of these cars now too. They're not base models anymore. Love some of the chrome accent and detail around the windows. Beautiful wheels. Look at these rear taillights, absolutely cool there indeed. On this little Civic right here by Honda. Lots of detail and accent throughout, makes it look sporty all the way around. And even the side profile of these cars definitely has a sporting appeal to it. It's an attractive little car. What about the interior? Base model? No, the interiors are actually solidly made, wear very, very well, and actually very attractive ergonomically. They work, they function, and they're reliable. I personally would say almost every Honda Civic is always a safe bet. Watch out for the 1.5 liter 4-cylinder turbos. There have been some issues with oil dilution problems. Although Honda is still currently working on a solution, I also would opt out of the automatic and personally go with a manual gearbox when it's available, because that truly does bring out the sporting experience in the Honda Civics. But how much would you lose in a 5-year time frame owning one of these great cars? You'd only lose about 16.5% of its original value in 5 years, and that really only equates to about $4,200. That's really not very much. It's only about $800 or $900 a year of depreciation. You counter that with low cost of insurance and even lower cost of maintenance and servicing. This car is very easy to own. Why would you buy a Tesla if you're truly looking for a cheap form of transportation? This one's got you covered. And here's the next vehicle with immense holding power in terms of value retention. And what we're talking about is this beautiful gray rig right here. Let's take a quick look and admire why people are liking these from a cosmetic perspective. They're great looking trucks, there's no doubt about it. And why is it also equally popular and does it hold such great value? Well, look at it. It is made by Toyota. And Toyota, everybody knows, has that reliability record that is unbeatable by anyone at this point. Of course, we have TRD wheels, and of course it's a Tacoma. In case you didn't know, simple little handles. Very basic, but easy to live with, and they don't break. Very simple little mirror, same thing. Rugged, if it did break, cheap to fix. 4 large doors allows for a significant amount of passenger space because of the longer cab on this particular unit. Great little flares on there, gives it a little bit of a stout looking pickup truck approach. It's a great looking vehicle. Of course, basic looking taillights in this Toyota Tacoma, and yes, it can tow a little bit of weight, no doubt about it. What we have here is the V6 SR5. You can also get SR, Unlimited, TRD packages. There's a whole variety of different configurations. Look, it has great ride height. It certainly is great for off-roading, and it seems like the people that like going off-roading go into 2 camps. Either you're from the Jeep camp or you're from the Toyota Tacoma camp. These have always historically been great vehicles for off-roading because of their simplicity, their ride height, their quality. They won't leave you dead in the bush. They're great vehicles. What's the interior like in these? Well, they are very basic. They're not made to flash and pizzazz. They're actually made form-following function, and they're made very durable. So things don't wear out, they don't break, you don't have soft touch features and buttons that will wear out. It's just amazing. Simple vehicle in many, many ways. Now you can get a couple different engine configurations and transmissions. You could, for a while, get the 4-cylinder, or you can get the somewhat anemic V6 with 270 horsepower, which is the engine I would particularly go with. You definitely don't want 4 cylinders in these. They're a little bit weak. And the 2 transmissions. You can get an optional 6-speed automatic, which is a little sluggish and doesn't necessarily allow the vehicle to exploit its power band. Personally, I would go with the manual gearbox, made it up with the V6. That truly makes the best driving experience with these particular vehicles. The other thing I have to mention is underneath, if you look at that frame, I have heard lately that there's been some recalls related to corroded frames and chassis underneath, where Toyota has actually taken customers' vehicles, taken the frame off, and actually refinishing or reapplying a different frame. It's more to follow up, but either way, people love these because they're almost bulletproof vehicles. Easy to maintain, super cheap. And because in 5 short years, they only lose 15% of their original value, that equates to under $6,000 gone in 5 years. Again, that's barely $1,000 a year of depreciation associated with these. Now that's in normal operating conditions. I've also heard some anomalies where people that have kept these in particularly nice shape and have gone to resell them and have owned them for 2 or 3 years and actually got more than they paid brand new for it. So they distinctly have great holding power, and even if you didn't want to hold on to it for 5 years, guarantee you get all your money back, sometimes even more. there's been lots of profits and people and stories of making money selling their Tacomas. And this right here is the next one, and this proves, in fact, third spot, that you can literally have a whole lot of fun, drive a really high level of performance type car, and not lose a whole lot of money. You can get into this beautiful Porsche 911 brand new right now for a significant amount of cash, but the losses are very minimal. But let's take a quick look and understand why people buy the 911, and maybe even understand why these cars hold their value so well. The 911 is a classic sports car that's been around for a long time, and they've gone through a lot of changes, but one thing that hasn't changed is the fact that they're rear engine. So in other words, the engine's out behind the drive wheels, and of course the gearbox, the transaxle, sits on the wheels there. And then now what has changed, in some models, they introduced automatic transmissions, DCTs, or essentially PDKs, is their double clutch transmission. They also have automatics, manual gearboxes throughout the different years. And with the racing heritage, people love the 911. They know that the 911 has the gusto, performance, and staying power to actually hold its own during a race. They're great cars. You can get turbos and GT3s, GT2s. They have a lot of different options. They also have great headlights, which is pretty much telltale for a 911. They have great sides. You look at the profiles on these cars, they always have a flare to them. The turbo's usually a little wider, but any of these cars certainly have a profile. These ones here is the Carrera 4S. That means it's all-wheel drive, being the 4, and the S is the higher output engine. This is a beautiful car. Right there, one set of pipes and dual pipes there. Gorgeous. Now you can get these coupes, convertibles. In some generations you can get a Targa roof. And then look inside, you'll notice this one happens to be a Tiptronic in this generation. That means it's an automatic, but they all typically are in 2+2 format. So in other words, 2 seats in the front and 2 little baby jump seats in the back. Amazing cars, gorgeous. Big brakes, gorgeous wheels, and the 911 generally has a great retention value. And as a matter of fact, in 5 short years, you could expect this car to have lost only about 14.5% of its original value, to the equivalent of about 20 grand, which is a relatively meager amount for such a car of such a massive caliber, the Porsche 911. And the second best vehicle for literally holding its value for 5 years is what was parked right behind us here. And it's a very popular vehicle. Why do people like these vehicles? Why do they hold such great value? Well, they're very popular. It has the traditional Jeep name right there that everybody trusts. They know if they want to go off-roading, there's no better vehicle that's more capable than a good old-fashioned Jeep. It certainly has the all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive capability, and we're talking about the Wrangler Unlimited specifically. Now, this particular vehicle has 4 doors. It's a little more pricey, brand new, but it also holds its value because driving a Jeep with 4 doors somehow just makes sense. And a lot of people just find it in themselves to be able to justify and say, hey, I drive a Jeep, I can have my cake and eat it too. I can have 4 doors, I can haul the kids around. There's no limitations. I can drive it summer, I can drive it winter, and it's just a vehicle that just makes sense in all aspects of the buying experience. I mean, just look at it too. It's quite an attractive vehicle. They've got great wheels on these Jeeps, stepping boards for those little people in your family. Of course, this one here has some great decals, but that's not standard. Of course, it's got very robust handles all the way around, very sturdy looking. Even if you broke it, it's not going to cost you an arm and 3 legs to replace that. Everything is built for strength. Of course, you got practicality. You get roadside with a flat tire, easy to get access to. Some of them can even haul a little bit of weight. And in most cases, a lot of these roofs will generally come off too, with the flip of a few hatches and rockers, and you're good to go. Now, under the hood, you get a 3.6 liter V6. It's relatively decent in terms of fuel economy. Now, Jeep's never been huge on reliability, but that's okay, because the people that are buying these are buying them from the heart. They're not buying them because they make sense, although financially they sort of do. Let's take a look inside and understand why people buy these. Not too much going on here. They do sort of look like a Tupperware and a Glad garbage bag factory got together and built something like this. But that really doesn't matter. The bottom line is you get yourself into one of these Jeep Unlimited Wranglers and you can literally, in 5 years' time, limit your losses financially to about only 8.5% loss in 5 years, and only about $3,300 out of your pocket. That's almost nothing. That's chump change. That's barely a set of tires in a time frame of 5 years. Amazing investment. And even a Jeep like this with 100,000 miles on it still commands a significant amount of money. So you don't even have to worry about garage queening this. You can actually literally enjoy it, flip it, and get your money back. And right here is actually number one for a vehicle that has literally no depreciation in a 5-year time frame, two-door version of the Jeep Wrangler. What we have here is an absolute amazing off-road machine, super popular with the younger crowd, and because they're buying from the heart, they're going to buy with passion. Passion drives emotional purchases, and of course, the value of these hold very, very well, but they're easy to live with too. Why? Because when you got snow on the ground, it's just easy to justify. You can haul small weights with them. You can go off-roading on the weekends with your buddies with them. You can take the roof off and actually enjoy the convertible experience with them. They're so versatile, they're hard not to love, and they look pretty damn cool too, almost like a Tonka toy. Let's take a look. Of course, you can get the big wheel off the back. Again, that was the other one. Nice flip-up door. They open up on the horizontal. Easy access window in the back. Of course, you can, lots of tow hook capabilities. Of course, this plastic makes it easy to live with, run through the bush without wrecking it. Simple handles, easy to change. Simple mirrors, also cheap and easy to replace. More plastic, which makes it very durable. Of course, you have these great little hitches, very cool indeed. So that hood flips up. It also has some great little accents on this particular one and these little hinges, so this hood flips up. And what we're dealing with is a trail rated version. This is the Sport Wrangler JK. Of course, these are one of the most popular vehicles for modification and updates. Everybody loves to put winches on their vehicles, even though this isn't stock. A lot of people just love to modify their vehicles. They also like to put lift kits on there, big wheels. They're great. The later versions have updated headlights and that Tonka toy look. What about the inside? Again, not necessarily the most luxurious or highest quality, but it's durable. You can hose it out with a hose and you're good to go. Manual gearbox or autos available. Now, unfortunately, they don't come without some problems. Hunting, surging issues because of the throttle position sensor issues in there. The V6 engine, somewhat problematic. The automatic transmissions when outfitted aren't that great. One thing you can get is the speed wobble here, or the death wobble, because of loose suspension front end parts, which actually make it a little bit unstable at higher speeds. You get water ingress because these roofs sometimes leak, but none of those little problems matter to people who are real enthusiasts and who love these Jeeps. And as a result, people are willing to pay top dollars even for Jeeps with big miles on them. And as a matter of fact, in 5 years, you can expect to only lose an average of about 7% of its original value, or about $2,700 is gone. That's nothing. The cost of ownership is essentially almost null and void. Great purchase, great ownership experience. I personally owned one years ago, and they're a lot of fun. The Jeep Wrangler. And with all of that said, if you don't want to lose your shirt on your next brand new car purchase, you're definitely going to want to check that out, because that's going to help you avoid buying some of the worst car investment in modern day history. Hope to see each and every one of you on the next one. See you all soon. Bye-bye.